Louise M Empowerment series today, I have Rachael Ferguson. Rachael is an international award-winning entrepreneur, podiatrist, author, and CEO of Australian footcare company Synxbody. After landing a deal with Andrew Banks on the TV show Shark Tank in 2015, Rachael has rapidly grown the company, creating a wide range of footcare products available nationally in Chemist Warehouse and selected pharmacies in Australia and New Zealand, and international presence in the USA. Rachael regularly speaks at seminars and in the media about common podiatry conditions, general health, and entrepreneurship topics. She has also published a wide range of blogs and videos on common podiatry issues, and is also an ambassador for Women's Entrepreneurship Day, which is a non-for-profit organisation to empower, support, and celebrate women in business. Passionate about health, wellness, and business, Rachael is on a mission to inspire, educate others, and share her business knowledge through the $1 Million Business Mentors. Welcome, Rachael.
Thank you, Louise, for having me. It's so nice to be here.
It's an absolute honour to have you, Rachael. I first met you back in, 2013 or 14 when I first started Louise M Shoes, and you were a podiatrist just more or less starting out. I think you may have been just about to go on Shark Tank or getting ready or something.
Yeah, thereabouts. It's either I'd just gone on or it hadn't aired yet, something like that.
So I've loved watching your journey. And my series is all about, it is a business journey, but we're going beyond that. And I want to find out where women in particular, because I've a women's shoe business, started their empowerment. You know, was it as a child or has it developed as an adult and through your business? So, so firstly, look, what's your definition of empowerment?
Such a good question. So for me, when I think of the word empowered, I think about feeling strong and able to make decisions and being confident in those decisions. That's what I think empowerment's about. And so when I think back to my childhood, you know, I had a really strong empowerment family that were very big on empowering us and making us be confident enough to own our decisions and make them, which I think is really important.
That's a great start. So did they, how did they do that? How did they give you choices? Can you do this or this? Or you can have this or this, wear this or this. I mean, as a child, you don't know that it's called empowerment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it comes down to conversations, particularly with my dad, because he's the entrepreneur in our family, and he loved talking to me about lots of these things. And from a very young age, I remember him saying to me, you always want to have your own business. Like you always want to have your own business. And it's amazing how those conversations like stick with you, right? So as you're growing older, you think about, oh yeah, I do want to do things for myself. And he used to give me that belief that you can do anything that you wanted. So I definitely think conversation is a big thing with children. And it's something that I try and have with my own kids every day.
Yes, I might get onto that a little bit later because you've got two girls as well. I do too. Yeah. So that's from did you have any other influences? Your dad was your main one, obviously. But did school empower you as well, or grandparents? What else?
Definitely grandparents. My grandfather, who's my dad's father, he was very big. He was an entrepreneur himself, and he used to empower me by conversations as well, and having his own business and dreaming big and having things that you want and working hard for them. And I definitely think there's other people in my life, like my parents' friends as well, that, you know, influence me in positive ways.
It's interesting because they say, is it the 5 people you most hang around is how you'll be as well. So
absolutely.
And such a gift that you had that positive influence from such an early age, because I do believe that it is a little bit more difficult to get to where you want to get to if you're having to find it later in life. But so this is a great conversation. Now you went to university as well. You're Curtin alumni as well. We do have that in common as well. So did that contribute to your confidence
Do you know, it's interesting because I went to, and I really think it's important to talk about this, because a lot of people think when you're successful, you know, you've had this amazing upbringing, which I did have a very positive family environment, but I also went to a very rough high school. So I went to Rockingham High School, which was regarded in the day as quite a rough, it was a public school. There was a lot of chaos around me. And when I think back to those early years, I had a lot of good friends and I made a lot of good friends, but I was also very social. So I probably didn't work as hard as what I should have at that age. So to get into university was really hard for me because I didn't quite get the grades that I wanted to do what I wanted. And I always think it's really important to talk about that because it builds resilience. You know, if you have a dream and you want to do it, you don't have to have the best grades and you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You know, when I think back to some of the people I went to high school with, some of them were a lot brighter than me. They might not have gone as far as in their education and their success, but it just shows you that you don't need to be that smartest person in the room. You have to have the resilience and the determination to want to get there, I think.
Thanks for sharing that. That is really important because at the end of the day, if you really want something,
yeah,
but it's having that belief
mm-hmm.
in you, and at the end of the day too, it's you that gives yourself that belief. You know, it's great to have all these influences around you that are you saying, yeah, go Rachel, you're amazing. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to go out there and get it. So yeah, thank you for that. And of course, we know that many people have very difficult childhoods, and yet they go on to do these amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Incredible.
Yeah. So, do you believe your childhood helped you establish your business goals and into business?
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So it was often the conversations, but it was also the support of my parents. So, you know, they also worked really hard. They, as I grew older, you know, their business became more successful and then they had more opportunities that they could give me. But from as a younger child, you know, they were running their business and they were growing that business. And anyone who starts scaling knows that it's not just an overnight success. So they couldn't financially give us everything when we were younger, but they emotionally and gave us those skills and those, you know, that beautiful, stable home environment that really gives you that confidence to thrive.
Yeah. How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 sisters.
Right.
So I am smack bang in the middle of both of them.
And do you believe they had the same upbringing and did they have the same aspirations, inspirations and whatever as you?
The interesting thing, me and my sisters are all different. So, and it's quite, you notice this often. I have, obviously with my 2 children, they're so different too. So we each are so different in our journeys and what we want to do, but we're all very smart and we all are very family focused and we all have the same morals and ethics. And I really, really attribute that to my parents, really.
Yeah. And I know you're very loyal to friends as well. Yeah. You know, one of your dear friends and the beautiful Rebecca, and you're very loyal and I think, you know, that's a sign of your upbringing as well and who you are.
Yeah.
So what has helped you become an even more empowered adult? Mm-hmm. You know, actually, I do know one of your books. I actually just downloaded it to read myself, Atomic Habits. Yeah. And that's pretty pivotal, it seems, in your business journey.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, when I think back to my business journey and, you know, which is I'm 10 years in now, you know, for the first probably 6 years, it was quite a hard struggle. Like anyone in business, you know, there's so much happening. You often wear so many hats. You know, you're going to bed late, you're waking up early, you're also being a mother or, you know, being everything to everyone. And I found I got myself into a bit of a rut, you know, and that happens with business. I like talking about it because I think if it can help anyone that was in the same situation I was in back in 2017, then I've done my job. But back in those times, I felt overwhelmed. I felt extremely overwhelmed, you know, all the things that mattered to me, you know, like exercising and eating well and spending time with friends and doing, you know, spending time with family. I had no time for any of those things. So what I had to do was just be very strict with my time and really carve out some good habits. And the book, like Atomic Habits, is so good for that because it just talks about that little step each day to reach your goals rather than trying to go too crazy.
Yes, I think that's really important, isn't it? Because we try and get here before we get here, and we don't realise that actually just taking one little step per day. And I do say that about business, just take a step, because if you stop taking a step, you stop going anywhere. But I must admit, I do need to apply that to my personal life more too, and concentrating on that health and seeing your friends. That's just as important, isn't it? So what else other than atomic habits? You know, well, your health and wellness. So have you got a regular thing you do every day?
I do. And so when I was in that time of stress, I read a book called The Miracle Morning. Have you heard of that one? By Hal Elrod.
I'll add it to my list.
Add it to your list. It is such a good book, and it's one that I still go back to all the time. And I'm in his community groups, and I get his emails, and I just love listening to Hal, because he talks so much sense. And it's not anything that no one said before, but it's just resonated with me in a way that made me actually do something about it. So he talks about having a very strict morning routine. You know, we wake up often, and I was very guilty of this, and I still can be guilty of this. You know, you check your phone before you know it, you've responded to emails, you've already put yourself into either a stressful place or a reacting place before you've even started your morning. You know, so you've really got to protect that energy around you. So what I do now is I wake up, and the first thing I do is come into my office, I have a glass of water, I like to meditate, even if it's just for 5 or 6 minutes. I'm not amazing at it, but I just try every single day, because, you know, especially for busy minds and busy people, you need that time to just stop with your thoughts. So I do that. I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, which allows me to reflect, you know, whether it's, you know, my family, my dog, you know, the food that we eat. Just reflect on 3 simple things every day. And then I like to read. So I have a pile of books behind me. Atomic Habits is one I quite often will pull out. And because I don't have time to read that much, I'll just grab and maybe read 2 pages. It's not much. It's just a couple of pages. And then I like to exercise. So at the moment, I'm really quite into Pilates. So I'll go into a Pilates class, or I'll go for a walk, or I'll just do 10 push-ups on the floor. Whatever I can fit into that morning. You just have to be flexible. And then I come out and have breakfast and, you know, drink my lemon water and do the other parts of my day. And then I find once I get the kids off to school and I'm ready, I'm much more in a better place to handle everything that comes at me and make better decisions.
Yeah, and having that time to yourself to do those things. You're not all day thinking, oh, I should meditate, I should exercise, I should. And it stops you from actually getting on with what you need to be doing in business as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have there been particular network groups, or, you know, is that your thing?
Yeah, it is. Yep. So I've found the Osmompreneur community has been very good for me. Are you part of that community?
I'm not, but I do know you won lots of awards. Congratulations. So yeah, tell us about that group.
They're just a beautiful group of obviously Katie and Peace, who run that group, are just beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous ladies who really drive and empower women. Like we're talking about empowering, like they absolutely empower women. And to have a group of people, and like we were talking about before, you know, the 5 people you spend the most time with is the result of who you are. So in a group like that, there's just so many incredible people that you meet. So I've just found that to be really valuable for me. I did try BNI groups back in the day, but it just wasn't my thing, because we're a much more global business. Local community wasn't really my thing. But on saying that, there's also so many other amazing groups too. There's Socially M. She has an amazing community group. She does some work for me. And, you know, there's never a better time than to become part of these communities, because you feel much less alone. And then you go out to these events and you meet a lot more like-minded people who inspire you.
Yes. It's one thing to have coffee with your school mums, which is fantastic too. It actually gets your mind off your business by doing that. Yeah. But it's great going to a networking group where, you know, they understand how you're thinking or feeling without actually having to say it.
I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even offer suggestions to help, How amazing is it? You can go to these events, and I've met a few women who've just launched new businesses. So then you go on and comment on their posts, or you like their stories, or you share something. A lot of this is all free, but it's just about supporting and inspiring women.
Yeah. So, and you yourself are inspiring women just from what you're doing. You're a co-author of a book as well with your story in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what other ways are you helping women feel empowered as you go on your business journey?
So I took a role of the WA ambassador for We Do, which is Women's Entrepreneurship Day. And I know last year I had a physical event, which you came to as well, Louise, which I loved. And I really wanted to do the same this year. But what we've actually done is we've combined it with all the states in Australia, so all the We Do representatives, and we're holding an online event for Women's Entrepreneurship Day. So that's going to be on the 19th of November. It's a free or just a small donation event, and some incredible speakers and pitch night. And we're just trying to really inspire women to believe in themselves and feel empowered and take risks in business.
Wow.
We're trying.
All those things, I know. And that's the thing too, how do you fit all this into your day?
It's complex. I'm not going to lie. My diary's looking a little bit chockers at the moment. So I sort of made a decision probably last week that now until the rest of the year, I need to cut back a lot of my things that I do, because there's just so many important things on. And I think it's very much like that. You'll go through stages where you're super busy and you need to carve out. So time blocking. Do you do time blocking, Louise?
I should.
Yeah.
I know I don't like that word either. I don't like the word should.
Yeah. But it's really good. And so I like to have a bit of time blocks for different creativity. So whether it's today I'm going to be recording or doing studio things, then I'll book everything in that section. If I'm going to be doing sales, then I might allocate a certain time. And I think just by time blocking, it gives you a better idea of how to manage your day. Otherwise, it can get very out of hand. Before you know it, you've raced from here and there and not actually accomplished anything.
Yeah, and a great idea too, because you can be dressed for that and do that, whereas some other activities you might not have to be so dressed.
Yes, you can be in your active wear, which is what I am 80% of the time.
Yes, well, it's very appropriate for you to be in active wear as well. So, yeah. How can people contact you, Rachael, and be inspired more and empowered more by you?
So they can follow me on Instagram. It's just rachel.ferguson. And I also have my website, rachelferguson.com.au. So part of what I'm doing at the moment is starting 2 podcasts. I'm doing a new podcast for my podiatry business, which is Synxbody. And that's all about health and wellness. So we're going to be educating people with different health specialists about different ways they can, learn more about their health and inspire them obviously to live healthier lives. And the second podcast, which you mentioned in the beginning, is the $1 Million Business Mentors. And that's all about mentoring women who have successful businesses that want to really scale them into 7 figures and beyond. And that's coming next year. So yeah, just stay in touch with me. I'm present on my Instagram page, and I'm really passionate about teaching people different ways to succeed in business, because I think the more we lean on other people for advice and guidance, the more successful we'll be.
Yes, I've had this conversation before, though, that, when you're starting out, you don't feel as though you can necessarily connect with those people because you feel as though you don't know enough and they know so much and they've done so well. So it does take a lot of courage to actually reach out. And as you know, you get busier and busier. So the people who are just starting out, they may not actually connect with you or have that confidence. So they need to feel empowered and take that step. Actually, one of the other women I interviewed, Leah Boyce, she says, have 20 seconds of insane courage and just pick up that phone or write that email. And I love that. So yeah,
I love that too. Part of my success in business came from that 20-second insanity of making one phone call to the right person. So I absolutely live by that.
Yes. And Shark Tank, I know your preparation was insane. You watched every episode of Shark Tank, so you knew every question that they were going to ask you, and you had the answers.
Yes.
That's inspirational in itself. And a really worthwhile lesson to everybody to really prepare, because it can be life-changing.
It can be. And really, to impress those people, it's all about resonating with them on that first visit, because, and when I say visit, for us, it was obviously pitching in front of investors on a TV show, which was a little bit different, but there's so many other pitch networks. And the one thing I can encourage everyone to do is practice, like practice in front of your kids, in front of your husband, in front of your friends, anyone who'll listen, get them to throw questions at you, because that is the only way you learn. And it's how I've learned to get better on my feet, because I wasn't this confident, 5 years ago. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, I'm fortunate to have Naomi Simpson, one of the other sharks.
Oh, yes, she loves your shoes. She loves your shoes, doesn't she? And I'm not surprised, because I also love your shoes. As a podiatrist, oh my goodness, they are beautiful.
Thanks, Rachel. Yes, but I think we met many years ago, and
yes,
we bought some.
I've still got a pair of your flats. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
So quality made, nice and comfortable.
Yes, well, I had a few podiatrists look at them actually. So I've got the heads up from podiatrists, which is really, really lovely. Yeah. But it's not about me. It's about you and women's empowerment. But shoes are a part of empowerment too. I want women to go out and achieve their goals and dreams in their day without worrying about their feet. So we've got that in common too.
Yes,
we want women to get rid of, anybody to get rid of sore feet. So that they can feel empowered and get on with their day. So thank you so much, Rachel. It's been an absolute joy hearing your story, and for you to be sharing this with others. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Louise.
Speak soon.